WIBTA for refusing a large cash gift on behalf of my children? My two kids are 15F and 13F. My dad very unceremoniously left our family when I turned 20. He wasn't a bad guy necessarily. To him, he fulfilled his obligation to raise me to an adult and wanted to cut ties and live his own life because he became a father very young. In the 25 years since he left, he's lived his dream with lots of travel. I know it shouldn't have affected me as much as it did, since I was an adult, but it devastated my mom and he promised he'd keep in touch with all of us. He never did. Since then, I've only spoken to him 4 or 5 times and I haven't met him. My mom has never spoken to him again. This was all on his end. We tried to no avail. When I had kids of my own, we didn't pretend I didn't have a dad or he passed or anything like that. I was always forthright and told my daughters that he decided not to be a dad anymore and it hurt Grandma and me deeply. If my kids had any questions, I told them the truth with how it affected us, but also more menial things like how he was, who he was, and so on. My kids have a generally negative view of him and they came to their own conclusions given all the facts with no hyperbole or sugarcoating. He emailed me to talk on the phone last week and he told me he's dying with stage 4 lung cancer. We talked a bit about him leaving and he said he doesn't regret his decision because his life was taken from him. He said he respects that I turned into a well-adjusted adult and he's proud that I've got so far, even without him, but that he doesn't love me and has no intention of seeing me before he goes. He did say, however, that he is dividing his assets between a few close friends and wanted to leave $25,000 each to both of my kids. He was a penny pincher but still lived modestly. He only ever worked to maintain, never to grow, so I don't doubt this is a large chunk of his total assets. He said it's only right that they get this money because they're his only grandchildren. I'm conflicted because accepting this money means, at least how my brain rationalizes it, that I forgive him or that it's okay or healthy to have lived how he did. I don't want my kids to get a lump sum and suddenly have a change of heart about him. I'm thinking of refusing the money on their behalf because it sets a bad example. My wife stands by my decision. But WIBTA to my kids for taking this choice from them? They don't know about it and my plan is to keep them in the dark about it, possibly forever. Why WIBTA? It's totally understandable, and you'd be the most sympathetic asshole I've ever seen on this sub. But it would still be an asshole thing to do to your kids. When my great-grandfather died, I was his only great-grandchild. There have been several others since, but I'm the oldest of my siblings and my generation of cousins, so at the time of his passing there was just me. He left some money to me, and my parents put it in a trust for me and didn't touch it until they gave me control of it at age 18. During that time, it had grown into more than enough to cover 4 years of university. The advantage this gave me over cousins that didn't have this cannot be overstated. I was never stressed about money as an undergrad. I worked, but I took fun jobs that paid less than other positions and worked fewer hours, looking more at building a resume than paying rent. I lived in a decent place. I never had to eat crap. I got a car, which made my life infinitely easier. And when I graduated, I had no debt and still had over $10,000 in savings, so I was able to hold out for the right postgraduate opportunities. If you can give your kids this kind of head start, please do. It's such a kindness. I have cousins still trying to pay off student loans from 2 decades ago. Let him buy your kids some financial freedom and then write him off knowing you're a far, far greater father than he ever got to be.